Hello, good afternoon, it's John Heaton, and today I'm going to review a band I haven't reviewed on my channel before, which is Foreigner. The album Double Vision, which is actually the only album I have on vinyl of theirs or on CD of theirs. But keep meaning to pick up some of the others, and I rediscovered this album after watching a video of Pete Pardo, Sea of Tranquility, who has a great YouTube channel. He was doing one of his album rankings video with a friend of his, and they went through all the Foreigner albums, and that made me go back and listen to Head Games, which I hadn't really heard before, and their first album. And those are the two I think I want to pick up, because I think those three are the strongest. And I didn't really like the direction they went in with all the big power ballads like I Want to Know What Love Is, and what's the other one? Waiting for a Girl Like You. Huge singles, but I think I prefer their earlier stuff. And this album, I was just listening to it last night in preparation for this, and it's a great rocking album, and it was very successful. Just before I go through the album, just a reminder of the band. So Mick Jones is the lead guitar player. He's a Brit who went to live in New York, and also a Brit. He's ex-Spooky Tooth, by the way. Ian MacDonald, ex-King Crimson, another Brit. And they teamed up with Dennis Elliott on drums, also a Brit, Lou Gramm on vocals from America, Al Greenwood on keys from America. Interesting, he's got the same surname as Dave Greenfield from Stranglers, not quite the same, sorry. And then Ed Gagliardi on bass and vocals. He was replaced soon after this album, I think. But that was the lineup for here, the 6 of them on the cover there. And this album is interesting for having several versions. This is the blue front cover, the green back cover, and then I picked up, I think it was in the US, I picked up this sleeve. There wasn't a record in the shop, so I offered the guy $1 for the sleeve, and he said yes. So I've got this sleeve, which I think may be an earlier edition. So I always like it when they have different variations, a bit like In Through the Outdoor from Led Zeppelin, and then on the CD they've got the purple version. So for all I know, there's other versions out there. I did notice there was a blue vinyl version of Blue Morning, Blue Day, which I'd like to get at some stage if I ever see it. So this band were very popular in the late 70s and early 80s in particular, and this album was a big one. It was particularly in the US, number 3 in the US. I think it only made number 45 in the UK, unfortunately, number 3 in Canada, number 13 in Australia. But it had some great singles off it, and the singles were very successful. Hot Blooded, one of the best ever tracks, got to number 3 in the US. The title track got to number 2, another storming rocker. And then Blue Morning, Blue Day, which I think is an excellent single as well, number 15. I mean, that's 3 top-notch singles right there. And Hot Blooded, one of the greatest intros to a rock song ever. Just absolutely love it, the bass at the beginning and then the guitar riff, and then Lou coming in on the vocals. And then it maintains that kind of level all the way through the song because it's really well sung by Lou Gramm. And great guitar solo in the middle, great power riffs. The New Musical Express, who I think came up with this, Illustrated Encyclopedia of Rock. They say the band soon turned into a major recording and concert attraction. Their second release, Double Vision, rocketed up the album charts with the single Hot Blooded following its big brother. Then they say at the end, although not startlingly original, they have one of the best rock vocalists in Gramm and are likely to stay around if Jones remains productive. So I don't think you'll find this group in many of the kind of top albums all-time listings. Unfortunately, they tend to be a bit derided. The All Music Guide only gave the first 3 albums 3 stars, and then he gave the album 4 stars, presumably because of the huge hit single or something. But I think this album is a 5-star album, and I want to rediscover I already listened to Head Games in the first one, but I need to play them a bit more to see what I think of them. But they're also pretty damn strong. So Hot Blooded, you couldn't wish for a better opener. And this band reminds me of all kinds of bands, by the way. I mean, it's got keyboards in it, which makes it a little bit more accessible to the mainstream but I can hear elements of AC/DC in their sound, with the keyboard elements, elements of Genesis here and there. Very strong string arrangements, bit reminiscent of Big Star and Badfinger at times. In fact, this is the kind of music I think Badfinger would have been recording had Pete Ham lived, but not to be. Interesting that this album was produced by Keith Olsen. When I was reading, Keith Olsen also produced many other albums of the era, including the Fleetwood Mac self-titled album from '75, the one with Say You Love Me and Rhiannon, and Landslide. And then for some reason he didn't work on Rumours, and then he was back working with them on Tusk, so that was interesting. And which, by the way, are also both superbly produced albums, and this production on this album is brilliant. I think string arrangements from David Paich, but the overall sound of the band, and you crank it up loud and it's great. So Blue Morning, Blue Day followed. That was a big single for me at school. It came out, and this album came out in 1978, and I think that album came out maybe the beginning of '79. And it was at a time when I was familiar with the whole of the top 40 in the UK, or even just outside the top 40 as this one was. I think it deserved to be a much bigger hit. I think it's a brilliant song, and I never tire of listening to it to this day. Wonderful, underrated. You're All I Am is a beautiful ballad. Back Where You Belong with Mick Jones taking the lead is another good rocking number. Love Has Taken Its Toll, another storming rocker. And then Double Vision opens side 2. Really has got another fantastic riff, and not surprising it sailed near to the top of the charts. I'm not sure what kept it off. If any of you know, then let me know, because I think it deserved to be a number 1, and so did Hot Blooded. But anyway, close enough. Tramontane is a very interesting instrumental, which Ian MacDonald co-wrote, and I guess he's playing a lot of the keyboards here, but there are 2 people playing keyboards in this band, so I'm not sure exactly what Ian MacDonald's playing and what Al Greenwood's playing. But it's a really nice piece, the only instrumental they ever recorded. I've Waited So Long. Again, Mick Jones takes the lead vocal here, and it's a beautiful ballad. In fact, the ballads on here are better than the kind of anthemic ones which were bigger hits later in their career, in my opinion. And that was also the view of Pete Pardo and his friend on the Sea of Tranquility video, which I watched the other day. By the way, I want to just mention Sea of Tranquility posted a really interesting video addressed to the commenters on his channel, because some people were being rude to him and to his guests, and he said he's fed up with it, and he was really quite forthright in his statement, and it was laudable, because there's no room for rudeness on if you have a YouTube channel. People should be respectful. They can disagree with you for sure, but they shouldn't slag you off. And I think he was a bit fed up with that, because Pete Pardo and his friends tend to be into heavy metal, and they review a lot of that type of music. But if you don't want to watch that kind of review, then don't watch those. Just stick to the ones, because they review a lot of other bands like Genesis and Supertramp and Foreigner and Wings, and there's enough for everyone on that channel. So I would advise people to pick and choose rather than watch stuff which you're going to react violently against. Back to the album, and Lonely Children is another great rocker, Play It Loud. And Spellbinder has a gorgeous string arrangement at the end. So this is really consistent. Unfortunately, there's no lyrics here on my copy. Maybe there were on the original, don't know. But I think I've said all I wanted to say, other than the fact that I really like this band, particularly their early albums, and I'm looking forward to discover more of their catalogue. So thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.